Hello there, and welcome to this new moon solar eclipse that we are having in Libra. On the day that I'm filming this, October 2nd or October 3rd, depending on where you live in the world. And I will be deep diving into these energies. What is being set up for us for this next 6 months? What are the energies and the experiences that this eclipse might be bringing to each of us on an individual soul level, as well as what we might experience on that bigger world stage? If you are new to this channel, my name is Chrissy Whistler. I am an evolutionary astrologer, so we will be looking at it from that perspective of the evolution and the growth journey and cycle of the soul. Why are we having these particular experiences? As you will find that there are many astrologers out there right now talking about this solar eclipse. And yet each of us, depending on our background and discipline, we have a very unique lens and perspective. And some of my perspective that I'll be bringing forward is my own journey of being a mother and what I have seen and learned through my experiences with my very unique neurosparkly children, and what I have seen when I looked into the mirror that they held up for me. So those are some of my lenses and perspectives. Now, in addition to being an astrologer and a mother, I am also a healer. And if you are needing extra support right now through this time, if you want to understand why you're having the experiences that you're having, this sudden rug getting ripped out of you experience and going on an entirely new direction, and you want to understand why, I highly recommend an astrology birth chart reading. Or if you have particular areas that are really stuck for you and you haven't been able to shake it despite your best efforts, then please reach out to me for a quantum healing session. You will find all that information at my website below at chrissywhistler.com. And if you are new to this channel, please like this video, share this to your friends, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all the things, so you know when I do produce these videos, and it also helps me in turn to reach more people like you. Now, let's go ahead and get started. And I am going to apologize a little bit for my energy. It is a very heavy energy right now. Actually, as soon as I started feeling, I could just feel it, this dropping into a transmission state. So if my words are a little bit slower than normal or get a little bit jumbled, just know that's why. There is a lot of energy. I'm actually filming this just 3 hours before the eclipse because that's the time that I had to do it, and which is also perfect because the sun has been adding his input with this as well. So I'll be getting into the solar energies that have just been released to weave this all together for you. And I've also recently returned from a very, very big camping trip to Utah and Colorado. And I can tell that I'm still not fully recovered from what we did. So there's been a need for rest from that. And in addition, like coming back home into civilization and then getting hit with all the eclipse energies on top of it. So it's been a journey of parsing out what came from what with this exhaustion. But I do want to say that if you are feeling particularly tired right now, or maybe even you're on the other end of the spectrum, maybe you are just being floored with energy, it's truly everything in between. I would love to know your experience. what is it like and been like for you during this eclipse? How are you doing? How are you handling these energies? I always love to hear your feedback, and I get a lot of feedback from the people that I interact on my day-to-day, and for them it's been more that really tired energy, but it might be very different for you. So I'm just clearing that. Why are eclipses so important? Why do they come into almost this collective consciousness in such a big way? It really is a time when people suddenly start to believe in astrology during eclipses, and it's because these eclipses are like these pivot points where you thought you were going in one direction, and then holy shit, that rug got ripped out from under you and you were suddenly on this entirely new path. And it can be very disruptive, good ways and bad ways, right? It can be very hard, it can be very joyful. So it really just is very specific for each of you, and what is it that your soul is wanting you to learn and to grow to this new cycle that is beginning. And that's what the new moon is, a solar eclipse. There is a sudden new path that is opening up. And what is that for you? Is that hitting any of your particular planets in your birth chart or any angles? So some eclipses might just be like, whatever, no big deal. But if it's really hitting you in some of your big power playing planets or your nodes, for example, this is going to be a pivotal time for you. So just know that if you do need that extra guidance, this is what an astrology birth chart can provide for you. But I do as well, just in this general, what is this collective energy that we're working with? This soup that we are all in, that's what we're going to explore together. Let's see, and as usual, I have my notes. So if you are new to eclipses, this is beginning a new 6-month cycle. We are just ending the cycle that really initiated in April 8th, when we had that total solar eclipse that cut through that mid to east, part of the United States. The really big one that, hit right in that Texas area. I'm just laughing because that's the second time this area has been hit with a total solar eclipse. So we're having a new cycle that's starting. This new 6-month period. Now this one though, this focus is going to be all about Libra. And with it being on the South Node, it means we're having a very deep review and reflection of our past relationships, our one-to-one relationships, our willingness or unwillingness to see ourselves in the mirror of the other. Why do we have the particular people in our lives? Why do we have maybe repeating themes of people coming into our lives? These people are coming in and showing us ourselves in some way. And what is it that we need to learn? What do we need to see within ourselves through that reflection? So this eclipse cycle is really going very deep when it comes to relationships. I did a whole video about this theme, and as I promised in that video, this theme of relationships, it's not going away. And in fact, we've been in this high intensity dance with relationships since, let me just kind of get the dates, July 2023. Dates and time are getting very weird for me, very fluid. this is also part of that Saturn being in Pisces. But if you're having that experience where time is just dissolving, know that that is a thing. So we have been in this dance with relationships, and it's going to intensify. It will be carrying us through this rest of 2024. And the moon's nodes will be switching polarities into Pisces and to Virgo. And yet, as I said, this is going to be a 6-month cycle with this eclipse. So it's carrying us beyond even the end of this year. So just know that this truly is this refining our true directions. Who are we really? It is this reviewing of the past in order to find our necessary future, that direction that our soul, our desires are taking each of us into. But it's like we don't know where that is yet. We have to first go back. We have to review when it comes to these relationships. Why are they happening? What are the lessons being given to us? Now, this particular eclipse is going to be very potent when it comes to all things relationships. And I'm going to try not to repeat a lot of what I said back in that other video, but there will be some of those themes coming through. So this eclipse, as I said, is going to be relationships. That is Libra, our one-to-one relationships. This is also having to do with our give and take, our giving to others, and then can we equally receive in turn? Or has there been a distortion of that? Is there been too much giving and then we're never receiving for ourselves? Or on the reverse, have you been the person that's always taking, and you're never giving back to the other? Or you're never pausing to truly listen to what the other person has to say? This polarity, this dance between Libra and Aries, it is this initiating Aries, our unique direction. But it's not going and just being a lone wolf. High octave Aries, Mars energy is that protector, is that being a unique individual and yet being able to be in collaboration with other people. That is what this mutual give and take is all about. And are we in right relationship with that in our lives and at that bigger collective societal level? And I imagine that a lot of you are going to say, yeah, no, that's not in right relationship. That is not true equality, true fairness, or even closer to fairness, right? Exchange. So that is so much of what is going to be revealed through this next 6 months within ourselves and within the world. Now, we will be seeing where that, again, fairness, equality, gender equality as well, has been oppressed and repressed. And how might we or others be projecting that out where we might not have had that fairness, that equality, that truly being listened to. So when we see something that triggers this inner child part of ourselves or this past experience, we then take that distortion and project it onto others. So it's this bypassing of these inner wounds and past experiences and putting them onto other people because we can't see what's behind us. That's too hard, that's too difficult. What's coming to my mind is just an experience of where I witnessed this, just children being children. They fall down, they get hurt, and they do the things, especially when they're in a very high energy place. And if you have a higher energy child like I do, These things just happen. And it's okay. When they fall down and they get hurt, I've learned, I've needed to learn, I've needed to see that part of my own wounds, because I'd be living with it every single day, every single minute. And it would just be it's like when things get too intense, it's like you have no choice but to see them. This has very much been this teaching experience of Eric for me. And on, again, this microcosm level, that's what we're going to be experiencing in our world, is things getting so intense, you finally have to see them and look at them and look within yourself of, where are you? Where am I holding these things? And can I let go of that end of the rope? Or do I have to keep tugging? Do I have to keep pulling and not letting it go, not letting this hurt go? And that was a very similar, it was this experience of witnessing this one person reacting explosively, and swearing and letting all this energy out about falling down and water being spilled. Like it's no big deal. Nobody was hurt. And yet, like, I was holding that space for Eric. He hit his knee. It did hurt. I totally respect that. And just sitting with him and being in that calm, so Eric can learn. And at the same time, I'm also holding this space for this other person, and I understand why they reacted in the way that they did. I could feel those repressed inner wounds, inner child even, of perhaps when that was their experience of being that explosive child and having that parent come down hard with the anger and the swearing. And I know that experience because that was also my childhood. So I bring that story through as one example of how this can come through. Again, it was this experience of a child, another person, becoming this mirror for someone else, this adult, of their particular wounds, their repression of themselves, perhaps even to that overly controlling parental figure. So look for that in your life, and can you catch yourself? Can you see those moments and those niggles of like, oh, this is a part of me that's really hurt, that's really wounded, and it's coming out in this particular way. So in this particular experience, that story I was sharing happened just a few days before we got to this eclipse. So just know that that is going to be some of these themes, and pay attention of how that might come through for you. Again, we have, and I'm bringing in this oppression, repression, because that is the Black Moon Lilith. Now, let me bring in some of the astrology we're working with. We have the sun and the moon. They're at 10 degrees of Libra. This is taking place at 11:49 a.m. Pacific time on October 2nd. So for those of you further on in the world, October 3rd. So in addition, we've got the sun and the moon. So this whole new beginning is starting. The south node is at 6 degrees of Libra. So again, there's this raking up, reliving of the past, repeating of these past themes with relationships. We also have Black Moon Lilith. She is, the Black Moon Lilith quarter is actually exactly conjunct this flashpoint between the mean Black Lilith, because she moves so quickly like a belly dancer, and the true Black node. They are together at this eclipse. We also have Mercury, so 11 degrees of Libra. So again, this is where we can really experience this communication coming through, very sharp words to other people. Again, thinking from the past as well can be coming through. And we have Maki. at 10 degrees of Libra. So right there. Now, I'm going to start to unpack some of this more and what that means. With Maki being at 10 degrees exact this eclipse, this is a beautiful opportunity that when we go into these past wounds, these past relationships, when we are willing to look into that mirror being held to us by other people, intimate relationships, again, children, people around us, maybe even somebody cutting you off in the street, okay? And you have a reaction to that. Maki is bringing us this opportunity that when we look within, when we do that review and reflection, we can not only update ourselves in this here now moment and where we're wanting to go forward into that future, but it's also about the fractal experience of our universe. Maki is almost like the Russian doll, where you have the little tiny doll here, and yet there's a bigger one on top, and then a bigger one, and a bigger one, a bigger one. That's what this planet is representing. That when we take this tiny experience, like with Eric knocking over water and hitting his knee, and the willingness to look at our own reactions to that experience and the depth of what that is coming through, we not only have the chance to heal ourselves, but we can heal generations. We can heal the collective. We can heal part of society. So it's this very deep opportunity that if we're willing to go into those depths, so much can happen. Now I'm going to bring in Venus. Venus is ruling all of those planets in Libra, and right now she is in Scorpio. So we are being asked to look at those parts of ourselves that may have been swept under the rug, especially when it comes to other people. These expectations placed onto us by others that we are a part of. The things that society, culture doesn't want us to look at. Our family generations are like, no, we don't talk about that. That's dirty, or that's too dark. We're just going to sweep that under the rug, and we're just going to be overly nice. We're going to be overly polite. We're not going to address the truth, the full spectrum truth. This is Scorpio of what life is. And Venus right there, she's being like, nope, we're going to go deep with this. We're going to go look at those places that you don't want to look at. So it's this beautiful, I say the word beautiful. It doesn't mean it's going to be a beautiful experience. This can be very difficult. What I say is beautiful is with like a capital B, of this being supported by God, by the source, by the universe, these higher energies to help bring us to the 0 point to heal. So that's what I mean when I say things like that. The experience can still totally suck. Believe me, I've been there. And you can hold this really difficult, really shitty, really hard experience. And you can also know that, okay, this really sucks. I do understand that there's going to be amazing blessings and opportunities and changes and growth through this. And it can still be hard, and you can still be going through the hardness. So it is about really holding both energies right now. So if that is your experience, I do hope that brings you some hope to to know that even if it's very difficult and very hard, there is this absolutely amazing opportunity to come in, to embrace maybe some of this lightness of Maki-Maki, and to know that your whole system is being updated through this experience. And then when you grow and then you take it out into the world, or when you are in relationships with other people, it becomes this ripple effect that goes far beyond you and this small experience, this here now moment. So please know that it's going to so much farther, so much deeper than you may know, you may ever know, ever experience. All right. So, bringing in more with Maki-Maki, this solar eclipse will actually, the best place to have to see this totality will be over Easter Island, Rapa Nui and the people there. And it also happens to be, Maki-Maki is there at that exact discovery date of Easter Island. So there's something very big and deep happening. So just know that what I'm even bringing through with Maki-Maki, it's only like the tip of the iceberg of what this planet is representing. It is this higher octave itself of Uranus. So it's a very difficult planet to really get a hold of because it's transcending so much, and it is truly updating our whole understanding of the world, the universe, and then how all these things are interconnected together. So there is going to be this new cycle that's starting with all of this. And it's certainly going to have as well some understanding of ecology, of systems, of how the flow of our world, of us and the world, and our interconnection even is. Also as well, this energy, stop hiding yourself. Stop taking your understanding of the world or other people to hide your light, to dim who you are. This is really this encouragement to work together as a team, but it's about the right team. You may again have to go into these relationships of the past and be like, oh wow, I was really hiding who I was, so I then couldn't show up and to be part of the team. Or maybe that was just not the right team for me because they couldn't accept who I was. And so who are the right people who can see you and accept you? That is, again, this new cycle, this new collaboration, this new opportunity that's opening up over this next 6 months. I'm also bringing in as well with this soul alchemy. This is Venus in Scorpio, but she's also in a grand water trine to Mars in Cancer. I'll get back to Mars in a second. Mars is also squaring these nodes. And then also a trine to Saturn in Pisces. So there is this true collaboration. Who are the true people our souls are meant to connect with, where there is this understanding of who we are as unique individuals, and being like, yeah, you go your way, that's absolutely great. And then how can I support you in doing that? How can I help you build these dreams, these visions that you have? So these energies are all working together as well. Maki-Maki as well is helping us to develop this richer and deeper understanding and awareness of ourselves and of where we fit within the world. Again, and to embrace that new understanding of that world, and then to take it forward, to drive our little car in the world, and to, again, create those ripple effects from there. as I've been speaking a lot, this is very much about reactions. What are your reactions to certain people, to certain experiences, especially the ones that take you deep into your past, even into your childhood? That's going to be another really big theme. The wounded inner child is part of that Mars square. So really take that necessary time to look within that and to be curious. Why is that there? Why am I having these reactions that I'm having? Why am I so triggered by this person, by what was said? Why was I taken back to when I was 7 years old in elementary school with this one particular teacher? You know, why? That is the big question for all of you. And once you understand what that is what is then going to allow you to make the necessary changes to go into that future, to then bring that change, that growth into society itself, into that world. We are starting again this whole new cycle, and that will largely be coming through relationships. And it's time to understand and update our understanding of relationships and of our place in them. Okay, so I'm just skimming my notes to see what I have missed that I wanted to bring through. All right, so I said I would come back to Mars. Now, as I said, I also brought through a lot of this energy with Mars squaring the moon's nodes, as well as being opposite to Ceres. This was in another video that I did about that need for deep rest. This is another theme that is not going away. It is a need to slow down and to emotionally digest and process all the shit that you've just been going through. This can be stuff for your entire life. This can be stuff of 2008 when Pluto first went into Capricorn. This can be stuff as well from 2020 onwards, because Ceres she's not yet quite completed, but she's coming close to where she was at the beginning of the pandemic in January 2020. So there's a lot of cycles that are needing the necessary review to sit within our emotions, to create that safe space so we can feel what those are, so we can hear the stories of our inner child. But that's not going to be easy. That's what this Mars squaring the moon's nodes is. We need to take the time to initiate, to find the right people, again, that trine to Venus, who can hold safe space for us. Because not everyone can do that. Not everyone is ready to do that or meant to do that. So who is that for you? And be very discerning and listen to your inner self. If you don't feel safe around someone, listen to that. Honor your gut. It's Mars. Honor what that's speaking to you and telling you. So taking that necessary time to care for yourself. I'm going to tell another little story. Hopefully it'll be a little kind of bringing in a lot of these themes. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I had just returned back from a very big, it was an 8-day trip. We ended up seeing 5 national parks, but we saw 4 of them within like 2 days. No, 3 days. 3 days. Very, very big non-stop trip. And I hadn't taken the necessary time to really slow down and to do that emotional processing, or again, even just the slowing down to process all the trip and the moving that we and the kids and I were doing. And I was doing this on my own, just me and Kate and Eric. And it just kept getting more and more intense. And I'm going to come back to this analogy in a little bit as well, that loaded spring. It was like my spring of what I could handle just compressed more and more and more. Not just me, but for the kids as well. It was too much without enough time of that rest, the slowing down of that cancer medicine, restoration. But instead it was like, well, let's just make it more intense. Let's just pack it all in more and more, as much as we can do in this short period of time. And it culminated. The spring lifted off. There's a big story. I won't tell the big story, but basically, we got no sleep. Our last night, we're in a hotel room. We had checked in at 7. We had finished the epic sightseeing that we were doing. And then the kids were up all night drinking water because we had gotten pizza, because that's what you do when you get in. And I was up since like 6 in the morning, and just driving, and like it was too much. And then they were up all night drinking water, and I was waking up at 3:30 in the morning to drive us home, 13 and a half hour drive on top of all the stops that we ended up doing. I was up at 1:30 in the morning, filling up water bottles. I was cranky. I was, again, my spring was like this big, like, oh my gosh, it was not good. And I was exhausted, bone tired, exhausted. And then doing the thing that I can do, especially as a woman, as a mother, is I push through this stuff. I can keep going. But I can't keep going and hold that safe emotional space. Mars and Cancer squaring those nodes. Eric ended up dropping his very special blanket between the entrance of the hotel and the car door. And again, I had zero sleep. It was 3:45 in the morning at this point. I'm trying to pack up the car so we can get going. The kids start fighting because they're, of course, very tired about this pillow in the middle of whose side it was on. So I just, again, my spring lost it. I went over, I just snapped at them, trying to get us to go. And then Eric asked me when he get in the car, where was his blue blanket? And my brain, as tired as it was, thought about another blanket and not his special blanket. And I just snapped at him. I'm like, it's right here. He told me that it wasn't there, and I didn't have the space to listen to him and to be emotionally present for him. So we ended up realizing 3 hours driving later, when I stop again, when I actually take that time to look for it, that it wasn't there. How many of you, especially mothers, feel that immense guilt when you don't listen and you knew that you should? You should have listened and you didn't. So that was me. The good news is, and I really need to go and do this. I need to leave a review for them. I'm going to make a note right now. I keep saying that and it just keeps slipping my mind. She ended up going into her room. It wasn't there, which is, I knew I had given it to him. Like, I knew I'd given it to him. She ended up finding it in the parking lot. And bless them, she found it and they overnighted it to us. I cannot tell you, this was Eric's baby blanket, this blanket that he was incredibly attached to. So it was a very deep learning experience, okay? So I'm bringing in some of the energies right now. This is Maki. It's beyond this here now moment. It's more than just a blanket. And for Eric, it was this deeper nurturing for him that this blanket provided. and yet it went more. So of course, here I am doing my Black Moon Lilith, projecting my oppression, my repression onto these children, because I was overtired, I was overexhausted, I had overgiven myself. Okay, there's that Libra energy, overgiving, self-sacrificing my needs, Aries, for this moment, for my children. I hadn't taken the time to care for me properly. And then I was able to, you know, when I got in the car, I'm driving, I'm just sobbing. The shame, the guilt, how could I do this? Like this, the self-loathing, this like, almost like the finger. Like, how could you do this? Like that voice, that overly critical authority voice coming through. And I needed to go through that. I needed to hear that. I needed to release and to witness this voice. And then I also needed to come into this state of forgiveness and compassion and accepting, like, yeah, I made a mistake. And I still did the best that I could in that moment. It is okay to be human. And then to take that moment in the car and then to apologize to Eric for not listening. Apologize to Kate for snapping at them. And I was so tired, and I took it out on you. And then sharing as well, like we all kind of had a part to play in what, again, the spring happened. Exploded outward. It wasn't just on me. I mean, a lot of it was, you know, I am the adult, and at the same time, I'm like, you guys are getting bigger and older, and I need some more help. So here's that maki. It's going within me. It's healing these parts of me. It's healing the generations of where I was treated that way. You know, again, unconsciously, the projections, you know, I'm not blaming my parents and, you know, their parents. This is what it is. This acceptance of it is what it is. And how can I hold compassion and love for it? And again, that moving out beyond and bigger, how much of my, in that moment, apologizing and loving myself, that is the hardest thing for me to do, is to love myself. How much of that did it actually heal into the collective experience? And how much of you out there are going to have resonance with that? And then it is okay for you to go and make mistakes. And it's even better when you do, because then you have that opportunity to fix it. To go to your children, your partner, and your friend and say, I am sorry. So that is this energy that we are working with this eclipse. So I'm sorry it took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but I hope that resonates for you and grounds for you just what we have. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and start to bring in, on the other end of this, okay, we have the North Node in Aries. This eclipse is opposite to Celestia at 10 degrees of Aries. And Celestia is, oh, she's such a beautiful energy. Again, this opportunity with our intimate one-to-one relationships and bringing in this higher love connection, this honoring of our own individuality and honoring others as well. Okay, just clearing that energy. And Celestia is coming in to help us to say, this is the right time to weather this storm, this time to speak up, this time to reconnect, as I did with my children. She's so much about the divine timing, weathering the difficult storms that we may be going through, and that is going to be October, guys. This is going to be November. This is not an easy time, and she is here. And with her being opposite, she is being illuminated. So we can see, what is that right timing? How can we weather that particular moment? And that we can. To shed the cloaks that are not yours, that you have been wearing for lifetimes, to let them go. and to step into who you truly are, and to then shine out with that light and to be seen. Oh gosh, it's so beautiful. It really is. And then to bring in, and just is coming to my mind as well, like the sun is really turning on. So we've, today is October 2nd. October 1st, we just had an X-class flare, a 7.15 flare. That's very close to being Earth direct. So we are more than likely going to be having a geomagnetic storm that's hitting us. We don't know when yet. The forecast models aren't really out, but within the next couple days. These X-class flares, remember, they are about cutting through the bullshit, the masks, the cloaks that are not who we truly are, who our soul is. It's cutting through with this surgical precision so we can better see and know our true selves. That's happened the day before this eclipse in Libra. There's just, the timing is just so amazing. All right, I'm gonna keep moving forward. And I guess I'll bring through as well, since we've had that X-class solar flare, within 15 hours, we then had 7 M-class flares. So the sun was incredibly quiet for like a week or two. Again, sorry, dates are really weird for me. Very quiet, not much high solar flare activity. Then all of a sudden, we had this M7 on the 30th September, and then on the October 1st, this X-class, one of the highest yet in this solar cycle. And now we've had a series of N-class flares very quickly. So this is us receiving these new light codes. Celestia also has to do with liquid light, photonic light. So we're also receiving this as well from the sun, which is just, again, the synchronicity is unbelievable. Okay. So I'm just going to bring through quickly. Again, we have the Venus-Mars-Saturn grand trine. Venus and Mars are the current nodal rulers, and for them to be in this trine right now at this eclipse is, again, absolutely beautiful. This is very powerful astrology that we're working with. And this is helping us to actualize, again, the true soul unions. Who are we really meant to be in relationship with? The right union, the people who can support us when we do need that emotional support, who are willing to accept us for who we fully are, our mistakes, and not just being overly nice and perfect, right? Full spectrum. Who are those people for you? And if you don't have them yet, how can you let go of the people who can't see you for who you truly are? Let them go. Allow them to fall away so you can have this true soul alchemy. Now, bringing in the Saturn element. Saturn in Pisces is in a balsamic conjunction with Neptune. This energy is going to continue through 2025 into 2026, when they are finally going to be in an exact conjunction. But what this is saying, we need to make it real. What is real and what is not real? That's what Saturn in Pisces is asking us. You have these visions, these dreams, these ideals. Which ones are going to be real? And which ones are just fantasy? We can really see that very clearly right now. And this is also, if you've done the work, Saturn is a planet that wants to make you work hard for something. It's not just going to be handed to you. Saturn wants you to work for it. Again, like that mean math teacher. You keep trying and you keep trying, you can't pass the test. And then yet at the end of the year, when you do finally pass, Saturn has that twinkle in his eye being like, see, I knew you could do it. I knew that you were stronger than you knew. Saturn is helping us to step into our self-authority, to give ourselves the mastery that we deserve because we've earned it. We've worked hard from it. So if you've been doing that work and working hard, it will be paying forward. We'll start to see some of that now, but definitely over these next few years. Those of you who've been doing the inner work, who've been laying the new foundation, the groundwork, this pioneering for what's to come. Again, it hasn't been easy. You've probably really felt those rings of Saturn around you holding you back. It's so you would not repeat these mistakes of the past. So just know that if you've been doing it, there is this beautiful energy, this really discovering, initiating what is your true purpose, especially to give back to the collective. That's Pisces. What is the work, Saturn, that only you can do and only you can contribute back to the whole, Pisces? So just know that we will be releasing any outdated pressures and expectations, conditionings put on us. This is a time of uncovering and rediscovering what that is. And where is it that our heart is Pisces? Where is it that that is leading us towards, and to follow that? And that will be your true purpose, whatever that is for you. So also to bring through, Pluto will be stationing direct on October 11th or 12th, depending on where you live in the world. And again, this is that loaded spring. This is going to be a continuing building up of intensity. We will be feeling it. We will be seeing it on that world stage, as well as being mirrored in our lives. And what that will look like will be very particular and specific to you. Now, I'm actually going to reference my teacher, Timothy Halloran, and his teacher, Jeffrey Wolf Green, who is the founder of Evolutionary Astrology, and spoke about this Pluto being at the cusp of the 10th house, this anaretic 29 degrees, 10th house into 11th house. And he describes this as being a grenade locked within a steel box. And it feels like that steel box will hold on forever. Nothing will destroy it. Nothing will change it. It's there. But Pluto moving into 11th house, moving into Aquarius and staying there. Jeffrey Wolf Green, when he's asked about that analogy, all he has to say is, the grenade wins. So just know that no matter whatever is happening in the world, what it is that we are bringing through, these new creations, these new directions, these being pioneer, unique selves, we are going to be that grenade in that steel box. It may not happen overnight, especially again to make these bigger world changes, but the change is coming. That is the energy of Pluto. Change is coming. Okay, so just again, to just know that for those of you who are really going through it, who are in that loaded spring, you've probably been there for a while, know that there will be an explosion. There will be a lift off in proportion to whatever that pressure and that weight has been for you, especially if you've been continuing to do the work, if you've been continuing to follow this purpose, this calling of your soul, and what you are here to do into birth, you will see that liftoff. And as I said again, it is going to be a very intense October. We will be seeing a lot of disharmony within ourselves coming to the surface as well as the world. It's necessary. We need to see where there is disharmony in order so then we can witness and see what is there, what is broken, what is missing, to then be able to bring in that harmony. But we can't do it unless we see it first. So that is what is coming through with this astrology. These big changes that are happening will continue to happen. I'll just finish up this as well in regards to the solar flares. Solar flares, also just natural disasters in general, to continue to intensify. I was initially introduced to the sun and learning about it about 2 years ago. There's an interview, and I'll share that video with you. It is still on YouTube, between Amanda Lawrence, who is a light energy worker, and with another woman, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. She's the one that initially started me learning about the sun and following the sun. And they spoke about a vision of a dream with a large enough solar flare in which the whole world shuts down. All the electricity, all our systems. And that's why I started to follow the sun. I was like, wow, what is the sun teaching us? What is the sun here to do? And that's what started me on this journey of the solar flares. And I'm bringing this through as now as well as I can feel it. This is not linked with astrology. It's a sense, it's a feeling that I have. And I'm also hearing it as well from like Stuart Pierce. He's someone else that I listen to from time to time. Less lately, but I still keep my ear to the ground. And he's bringing it through, and others as well, Alexander Quinn and Linda Good McGillis. There's this energy of a flare, at least one, possibly more, I don't know, that's coming. And Stuart Pierce actually spoken with his guides, the angels that he works with, that this is going to be happening during Scorpio season, so that end of October into November. I would say that's quite possible just with the energy of Pluto, again moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius, and then we saw it as well with the lockdown experience and the world shutting down and all the distractions of the world just getting turned off, and all we had to do was sit and be within ourselves and the people closest around us. It was like, this is what I experience when I go out into nature, when I go camping, is as the society, civilization gets shut down and I'm settling within my own self and my energy, and this undeniable mirror that my children are holding up to me for me to see those parts of myself that I don't want to see. So that's also why I really I have a deeper resonance with this shutting out the world, this solar flare shutting us down to help us to awaken, to shed those cloaks of the past and to see who we truly are. So I don't know when it's going to happen. I can feel, again, that loaded spring. I can feel it coming. So take that as you will, if you will. I would say, regardless, solar flare or not, to be prepared with all the, the earth movements, the fires, the floods, everything that's happening. I think it would behoove all of us to be prepared for several days of no electricity and no potentially running water or food. And so whatever you need to do, that would be my suggestion for you and your family or your neighbors, to just be mindful and to possibly prepare for that. Or if that doesn't resonate for you, just let it go. That's just fine too. I just felt like it was probably time for me to say that and to bring that through in a deeper, more mindful way. I do feel that there is a solar flare that is going to be coming, that is strong enough to do that. This solar cycle has been 2 times stronger than scientists had predicted in 2019, and I think it will be even stronger. And I think it's because we need it to be. That our consciousness and the Earth's consciousness is like, okay, humanity, it's time to step up. It's time to step into what this new future is going to be. And even if it's not overnight, I do not believe it'll be overnight, but the seeds, not only to be planted, but to really give them that burst of energy to grow to greater and faster and beyond what we could even perceive. So I do hope all of this is supportive. As usual, I know that was a lot, but I didn't even bring through some of the other planets. Okay, this really is a time to transmute, to focus on transmuting all that is dark into light, to help us move through this journey. We are being so beautiful and deeply supportive, even again, as it might be really, really shitty and really, really hard. And do know, if that is you and you're really going through it, you don't have to go through it alone. If you want to understand why, please reach out for an astrology birth chart reading. If you want to really get to the 0 point and the heart of why you're having these experiences, I cannot recommend that enough. And then again, to bring in the quantum healing for those areas of your life to start losing some of that density, and to give you the space to really meet these new energies that are coming through from a less triggered, reacted, wounded place. So if you're interested in that, please do reach out. And if you find that this video is helpful, please like it, send it to your friends, share, because we are going to be in these energies for quite some time to come, and it is going to be very intense. And regardless, know that you are not going through it alone. If you want to share your experience, please leave a comment and know that you are being held in your witness. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.